This is Steve Jewin from MMA Mania. How are you this afternoon?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm very excited to talk to you about this fight you have coming up with Mike Ricci. And let me start out by telling you that Ricci is a guy I've talked to before. He comes across as a little cocksure when I talk to him. He once told me he was number 3 in the world at lightweight. What do you make of that statement going into this fight?
Oh, it doesn't affect me at all. He can be number 3. It still doesn't change that I'm number 1.
Of course, he still admitted that Justin Gaethje was probably number 1 ahead of him, and that's the guy you're both looking to fight with a win in this fight.
Yeah, I'm ahead of him too.
Then how do you feel about fighting Justin Gaethje, assuming you get this win? And it sounds like you're pretty confident that'll happen.
I honestly haven't even thought about. The only time I think about Justin Gaethje is when people ask me about him. You know, I'm thinking about Mike Ricci right now. I don't really think about him that often either, honestly. I mean, he's just a faceless target for me, you know.
Since you're focused strictly on Mike Ricci right now, and you already feel that you're better than him in any way, shape, or form, what do you think he does bring to the table to make this an interesting fight for you?
He's a tough guy, man. He's got the height and reach on me. You know, he's tall and rangy, likes to stay at his range and kick and kickbox it, you know, at range. So he presents some interesting problems, but you know, I'm ready. I've been training hard. I've been getting some good work in, so I'm ready to go.
Tell me a little bit about getting ready for this fight. Who are the guys that are sharpening up your skills right now as you're getting ready for this co-main event?
Well, I spent some time in Florida training, and now I'm back home working with LC Davis and all my guys at American Top Team HD. But yeah, I spent a few weeks at Florida at American Top Team and got some awesome weeks down there. So yeah, it's just the same crew. I mean, I've been with the same guys for a while.
Hey, how's LC doing anyway? It's been a little while since we've seen him in the Bellator cage.
He's doing really good. I think he's going to get cleared. I think he's going to get cleared pretty soon to fight. I think he's going to the doctor end of this month maybe to get cleared to train. And then, you know, he's already actually been training. I mean, not like hard. He's just been staying in shape, you know. So I think he's going to come back ready to go.
I think everybody trains anyway, even when they have that 60-day medical suspension. No sparring, no contact. I get the feeling most guys are still going out there and doing stuff anyway.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, they can't afford to take too much time off.
That's an interesting question, actually, because it's been a little time since we saw you at World Series Fighting 25. So what's kept you out of action between then and now?
Nothing really. I don't know. I've just been waiting for the fight, for the call, you know. So I wouldn't say anything's been keeping me out of action. I've been staying busy though. You know, I think we got this fight we got some notice for this fight. I don't remember exactly when we got it, but I wouldn't say anything's been keeping me out of action. You know, it's just kind of like in a World Series, there's a lot of guys trying to fight, and you know, I just gotta get in there, and whenever I'm ready to go, you know, they call me.
Well, I'm glad they made the call for this fight because you impressed in your World Series Fighting debut with that second-round knockout kick that you landed on Esteban Payan. So, is that how you saw the fight playing out in your head going in?
Yeah, it went pretty well. I mean, I try not to I do a lot of visualization and stuff, but you know, I don't have like a set game plan. I try not to go in there with like too concrete of plans because they always get scuttled, you know. So. But it went well, you know. It went about as well as they can go. I mean, you know, got in there and got it done without taking any injuries. And I was in the gym the next week, so it went pretty well.
Yeah, it went pretty well, and it was an exciting fight, and gave you the opportunity to pretty much call your shot because they were having a lightweight tournament that night, and you were the only lightweight on the card other than Esteban Payan who wasn't in the tournament. Well,
yeah, I mean, it was just me and him besides the tournament, but the tournament was cool. I thought, you know, 3 fights in one night, tough out, you know. So, yeah, it was fun.
I think that's another reason that Ricci seems to have a little chip on his shoulder right now is because he won in the opening round of that tournament with a knockout of his own and probably thought he was going all the way through it, but injuries derailed his chances, and injuries actually derailed the last fight he was supposed to have too, so he's got to be a little careful coming into this fight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what's going on with him, but you know, he's pulled out of his last 2 fights, you know, if you look at it. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's nothing that I can control, you know. So I haven't heard anything. We're a week out and I haven't heard anything about him being injured, so I don't know, it's not something that I wake up every day worrying about. I can't control it, so, you know.
And it doesn't sound like you're afraid of a short-nosed replacement. Not that we're expecting one, not that I've heard anything either, but you'd still be ready to go no matter what.
Yeah, I'm ready, man. You know, I'm ready to go.
I don't want to dwell on this too much, but I do want to ask because I'm curious about it. You had such a great run in both Strikeforce and UFC, and there was just one incident that caused them to part ways with you. It seemed like it might have been overblown. I don't know. What's your take?
Well, I thought it was a little overblown, but, you know, it's just my personal opinion. I don't know. I definitely was in the wrong, you know. It was just an unfortunate situation, you know. I thought that Dana and the UFC kind of made like a knee-jerk reaction towards me, and, you know, it happened. I don't know. It was a long time ago, man. It was about 2 years ago. So, you know, I only time, like I said about Gaethje, the only time I think about that right now is when somebody asks me about it, or you know, sometimes I'm watching the UFC, I get a little tinge of nostalgia. You know, I feel like I should be in there competing with those guys, but there's a lot of good people for me to beat up at World Series, so I'm happy.
Does that mean that if you win the World Series championship and have a good run there, that you might want to try to go back there someday?
Man, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Who can say? What are you going to be doing in the next year? Can you tell me that?
Hopefully interviewing fighters like you.
Well, I'll still be fighting, that's for sure. But I don't know. You know, I'm in World Series right now, so, you know, that's what I'm focused on.
I just want to know how you feel they've treated you in general, since we're already comparing, you know, how they reacted to how World Series Fighting reacts. So what's your feeling with this organization?
Oh, they're great, man. I really like your World Series. They're professional, and, you know, they've been great so far. I've only had one fight there, but, you know, everything went really smooth, and there were no hiccups. You know, so it's been going great.
One thing that I hear fighters tell me every now and then when they jump from one organization over to World Series Fighting is they like the fact that Ray Sefo is a fighter himself, that a fighter can understand fighters better than a guy who doesn't fight. Yeah,
that's cool. I know Ray from back in the day, you know, and he's a great guy, man. Everybody's got something nice to say about Ray, man. You never hear a bad word about him. So Ray Sefo is a stand-up guy. He's very, very cool, you know. And it's definitely cool that he's, you know, been on the other side of the negotiations. You know, he's been in plenty of, you know, obviously a great kickboxer, you know, so he's had his share of fights and, you know, all that comes with that. So, yeah.
And it always seems like we never know when there's going to be just one more fight for him. You know, it doesn't seim like he's ever going to retire. We think he does and he doesn't.
Yeah, he seems like he stays in shape, you know, I mean, I don't know. I think if I had to guess, I'd say he's done fighting. But, you know, like you said, you never know. I mean, you know, guys get the bug, and I'm sure Ray's still a competitor at heart. So, you know, it wouldn't surprise me too much if he took another fight. But, you know, if I had to bet the house on it, I'd probably say he's done. He's done fighting.
You've got plenty of years ahead of you left in a fighting career, and obviously, like you said, we can't know what the future is going to be. Nobody knows where we're going to be in a year or 2 years, but do you see yourself fighting like another 5 or 10 years, or do you think it'll be less than that?
5 maybe. There's a huge difference on this game between 5 and 10 years. I mean, 10 years I'll be 44, so I don't know if I'll still be fighting then.
I don't rule anything out, because look what we just saw Dan Henderson do, so.
I know, yeah, I was talking about that with some of my friends. You know, I don't know. I feel good right now, and I'm not going to put a limit on it. I used to say I wanted to be done at 30, and, you know, you see how that went, so, you know, I'm just not going to say, I think.
That's fine. What gave you the bug to get into fighting in the first place? Where did it first start for you?
Well, I got to do a lot of fights when I was younger, you know, and I used to get picked on when I was really young, you know, in school. I was quiet, you know, I didn't really mess with anybody, but, you know, so I was small, you know, so people would mess with me a little bit. So eventually I just started fighting people, you know, and then, you know, I started wrestling when I was probably like 9 or 10, and, you know, just the seems like, you know, the higher you go in wrestling, the more intense it gets, and it turns into like a fight without punches and stuff like that. So I finished up at college, you know, college wrestling, and I took a semester in Costa Rica, and I started doing jiu-jitsu there, and then I came back, and one of my high school coaches was doing like these local fights at a bar in Kansas City. And I told him that, yeah, maybe I might be interested in one of those, and I went back to school and started training a little bit, just messing around. And then one like, I think he called me maybe like Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday, and he's like, yeah, there's a fight this weekend and such in Kansas City, this bar. It's called the Beaumont Club or something. Told me about it, and I was like, sure, I just I was like, yeah, I'll take that, So I made weight, took the fight, and won, and then started getting into it after that,
Well, and you already had that wrestling base, which pretty much essential to be successful in MMA. So once you had that and you had a little jiu-jitsu and took your first fight and it went well, then why not keep taking more?
Yeah, why not,
What's funny is I can't find that Beaumont Fight Club fight. The only one I find is your first one on your record, and you know better than I do, is a fight right here in Omaha with Sean Westbrook.
Yeah, that was my first pro fight. The Beaumont Club was an amateur fight, and actually the one against Sean Westbrook, I assumed it was going to be an amateur fight too. I signed the contract, and then after the fight, they were like, I tried to take another amateur fight after that Sean Westbrook fight, and they were like, you're a pro, man. And I was like, oh, okay, so I just, that's how I went pro. Okay. Had one amateur fight, and then, yeah, it was hella disorganized, back then. I don't know, if you've been around Omaha for a while, I had a few fights up there and then some in Iowa. It just wasn't what it is now,
Yeah.
But,
victory fighting. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the Sean Westbrook fight was like in some, it was just like in a banquet hall, It wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't like it was a pretty small little venue,
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I just didn't ask any questions. It's fine. I don't even think I signed anything, honestly. So probably didn't.
No. Well, I can't remember ever going to an AFC fight, but I know I've been to some of the victory fighting shows, and you put together a good run going through those. You got up to like 7-0 before you made your debut in Affliction.
Yeah. Did pretty well.
Did it feel like, regionally, because I know there's a big scene around here between Kansas City, Omaha, Des Moines, Minneapolis. Did you enjoy that, or do you like just getting out and fighting everywhere?
I don't mind traveling to fight. I mean, like I fought, I don't want to say all over the world, but it's, it's taken me to some places, and I really like going different places and checking them out and, traveling. It's fun,
You really achieved some success over in Japan as well with the Dream Fight organization, so that had to be a fun experience.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It's great fight atmosphere over there. Plus, it's just, like I said, it's just cool to go be a kind of a tourist, you just eat the food and walk around and, just hanging out in Japan, it's pretty cool. Free trip to Japan, I don't know. It was cool.
Yeah, I wish somebody would offer me a free trip to Japan. That's one place I've never been that I've always wanted to go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're going to be traveling, too, for this fight coming up on June 17th. You're traveling out to Mashantucket. When do you make that trip?
I leave Tuesday.
What do you think about some states doing these new early morning weigh-ins?
Oh, I think that's great, man. Like, I just want to make weight, so you tell me when the weigh-ins are and I'll be there, and so the earlier the better for me. It's, I'm just down to get on the scale and then start eating. So, if we make weight in the morning or in the afternoon, whatever, I can go have lunch and then I can have dinner. It's great. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and I think doing two weigh-ins also makes it better for cutting a promo and being charismatic for the camera because you're not stressed out trying to get on the scale and make a weight. You can just come out and be relaxed.
Yeah, nobody likes doing interviews when they're all sucked out, but it's part of the game. Can be,
That's true. So let me just wrap it up in closing by getting any parting shots or thoughts you have for Mike Ricci before the fight next Friday night.
Oh, I don't have nothing to say to him, man. I hope he's ready. I'm sure he is. We'll see each other next week.
All right. Yes, it's going to be a great fight. Co-main event of World Series of Fighting 31. Blagoy Ivanov and Josh Copeland in the main event. What do you think about that fight?
Dude, I like Ivanov, man. I like him to take it. But Copeland's tough, man. I don't really know. I'm honestly, I don't know much about Josh Copeland, but I've seen Ivanov fight a couple times, and he's a beast.
He beat the toughest opponent you can beat. He already beat the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, yeah. What was the story with that? Did I miss that?
He got stabbed in a bar in Bulgaria, and he was put in a medically induced coma for like a year.
Dude, what's going on with these? Terribly dangerous in Russia, I guess. You hear about the one guy that got shot like 9 times? Shilabat Shimalayev, or I'm sure I just butchered his name. But
No, you got it right, actually.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, I did?
Yeah, you nailed it. It's pretty crazy. Like you said, it seems to be pretty dangerous right now to be a fighter. If you get any kind of name or reputation, there are people looking to take a piece out of you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I heard it's a little different in Russia, but I've never been there, so.
Well, actually, Copeland just fought there not too long ago. He fought Vitaly Minikov over there.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't go too well for him, but, he's trying to rebound from that, and we'll see how he does against Ivanov in this fight.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and we'll definitely see you in the co-main event, and hopefully calling out Justin Gaethje. You said he's nameless and faceless, but if you get that win, give him a face. Go ahead and call him out and take that fight.
Yeah, I already talked to him. I mean, he knows I'm here, so, it's whatever. He can get it too.
All right, everybody can get it. That'll be our tagline for Jason High. What do you say?
That sounds great.
All right. Anything you want to plug before we go?
Nice.
Sponsors, social media, anything you want to plug?
I want to say thanks to Scramble and Gazelle Incorporated, everybody at the American Top Team in Florida and American Top Team HD in Kansas City. I'm on Twitter at Casey Bandit MMA, Facebook.com/Casey Bandit MMA. So come find me.
Everybody come find Jason High, and don't miss the fight June 17th live on NBC Sports. Thanks for the time, Jason. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. Good talking to you.